Hello, everyone, and welcome to BodyBags. I'll be your reviewer for today. I'm Lonnie from Tats. You know, there's one of the best feelings in the world is when you go into a movie and you have no expectations. I mean, just you think it's not going to be any good. You think it's like just the bar is going to be so low, and you end up being pleasantly surprised. It's a really good feeling. And that's actually the way I feel about the movie that I'm reviewing for today. The movie that I'm talking about is the 2021 remake of Slumber Party Massacre. This movie was actually broadcast on Sci-Fi Channel originally, and here a while back I found this DVD for dirt cheap prices, and I picked it up, and I figured, well, I'll go ahead and I'll give it a shot. And here it was a couple of weeks ago or whatever, I was getting some movies off the unwatched pile, and I was like, let's do this. Probably gonna hate it. It's gonna be it's a remake, all this kind of stuff. Just really had no hope for it. But then I watched it. This is a good movie, and I highly recommend. If you can find it, whether streaming, DVD, Blu-ray, if you can find this movie, get it and check it out. This movie is a lot of fun. And I bought the cheap DVD. Honestly, first chance I get, I'm upgrading this baby to Blu-ray. So, anyway, that being said, let's kind of get into the story. Now, the beginning of the story, we have a little bit of kind of like a prologue, similar or something to like the Friday the 13th remake from 2009. We have a group of girls, and the main girl is Trish Devereaux, and they're at this cabin and they're having a slumber party, and Trish's ex-boyfriend Chad, he comes up, and he's he's trying to talk to her, telling her to come back to him and all this kind of stuff, and she's telling him she doesn't want to go back to him because he cheated on her and stuff. So of course he's calling her names, calling her all kinds of horrible things, and she just like yeah, whatever, it's like I gotta get back. So she goes back to her party and stuff, and her friends, they're hanging out, just having a good time, doing slumber party things. They're making brownies, eating pizza, all this kind of stuff. And, they're talking about Chad, and it's revealed that one of Trisha's girlfriends actually was the one who cheated on her with Chad. So, but then, Chad goes up to the window, he's looking at the girls, and he decides to, have a little fun, and he's attacked and killed by this man Russ Thorne. And Russ Thorne, basically, it's almost like the exact same character from the original Slumber Party Massacre. Guy pretty much wearing like denim jacket, jeans, all the. He's got the huge power drill. Yeah, so let's see. There he is, right there. If you can see him right there. So anyway, so he's he kills the boyfriend, and then he goes and he starts killing the girls off one by one. And so, and he's pretty much similar to like the character in the original. He's like, I love you. You have to have a lot of love for someone to do this for them. And so he's like trying to take out the girls one by one, and he gets to Trish. Well, Trish, he ends up getting her through the hand with the drill. But she's able to take a boating oar, and she cracks him across the head with it, and then he falls into the lake, and then it's presumed that he drowned, that he's dead. Okay, now cut two. Now it's modern day. Now Trish has a daughter named Dana Devereaux, and Dana decides she's gonna go with her girlfriends Maeve, Ashley, and oh God, what was the other girl's name? I'm sorry, I forget. But anyway, so they're going, they decide they're going to go to the exact same cabin and by the lake and everything, and they're going to have basically a slumber party, similar kind of like what her mom did. Well, they're en route, they come to find out that actually Maeve's sister, Alex, has stowed herself away because, hey, big sister's going to have a party with her friends, all kinds of, cool grown-up stuff is going to go down. She wants to get in on the action. Now, Maeve doesn't like the idea at first, but everybody just, oh, come on, let her come along and everything else. So, eventually, Maeve reluctantly lets Alex come along. So they go there, their car breaks down, and, they go, they end up in the same cabin where, Dana's mother Trish was, decades before, and so they start having their slumber party and all this kind of stuff. And turns out there's a cabin kind of like across the lake. And these guys, there's like Matt and I forget the other guy's name, and then there are two guys. One's both of them are named Guy, and there's this kind of running joke with these guys' names. There's Guy 1 and Guy 2, and so they keep saying, the guys, like, well, which guy? Guy 1 or Guy 2? So there's kind of that running joke through here. And there is some good humor in this movie, too. Well, so anyway, a mechanic comes by, and he's talking about he's going to tell the girls he's got a part for their car, and that he's going to fix it and everything, so, everything will be all right. Well, turns out Russ Thorne is still alive, and, he kills the mechanic. Well, Alex, she's sitting there. She's kind of like watching these girls do their thing, dancing and all this kind of stuff. And she's just kind of like not digging it, Don't really know what it was she expected, coming on the trip, but she decided, no, I'm not really into this. So she goes out, she goes for a walk, and she says, okay, there's guys across the lake and stuff. Well, she sees the truck, and she goes up to the truck, and she sees that the mechanic is there. He's dead. Both of his eyes are gouged out. So Alex screams. She's scared. She runs back to the cottage, and she tells the girls that she found the mechanic dead. And so then the girls are all like, "Okay, he's here. Let's snap into action." And so they get ready, and it turns out that the whole thing, it was never really a slumber party in the first place. The whole thing really was, they went to this cabin by the lake. The whole thing was planned because they wanted to lure Russ Thorne out so that they can, kill the guy and basically get revenge, not just for Dana's mom, but for all the many people that Russ has killed over the decades. Because, excuse me, more, not just after her mother's ordeal, as time went on, it turned out lots of people ended up being killed by Russ Thorne. And so Dana, Maeve, and her friends, they're gonna, the whole plan is that they want to trap him so that they can kill him and everything else and put it into the horror. And so, the two guys, Matt and the other guy, I can't remember his name, but they come along and then they get pulled into this whole thing, and then and then it turns out like they have to all try to see if they can band together and see if they can, fight the killer and all this kind of stuff. And even though it's going to be obvious, I'm not going to lie, it's going to be obvious, but there are some, kind of some fun twists and turns in this, and, this ends up being a blast of a movie to watch. It really is. I don't want to give away too much more, but, this movie's a hoot. If you've seen the original Slumber Party Massacre and you're a fan of it, I think you're really going to enjoy this. I've seen it, it's a good movie, and this movie's a lot of fun as well. Okay, you do get some, you get some really fun nods and Easter eggs in this movie that call back not just to the original Slumber Party Massacre, but also to the sequels as well. And like I said, I won't spoil it for you. I want to wait so you can see it and you see what I'm talking about. But there are some fun nods. Okay, I'll give you like a tiny little example. Like, okay, remember how in the original Slumber Party Massacre, like at one point, one of the girls is killed, and then like they stuff her body in the fridge, and then like one of the girls goes to get like a beer out of the fridge, and you see the body like it's about to fall out, but she's not looking in the fridge because she's busy talking to her girlfriend, and and all that kind of stuff. But it looks like the body's about ready to spill out of the fridge, but she just closes the door and leaves the body in there. They have a callback to that, but in this one it ends up being like a cube freezer. You get some other fun stuff too, but I won't give it away. The characters are fun, and there's some good humor in this. You do get a couple of inventive kills, and there was one. It's all like, wow, it's it's like I want to talk about it, but at the same time I don't want to talk about it because I don't want to spoil it for you. But there are a couple of fun inventive kills. You get some good back and forth between the characters. And let's see what else. Like I said, good effect, really good practical effects, hardly any CGI, and yeah, man, I really dig this movie, and I strongly urge everybody to watch it. The biggest thing that I was really most impressed with, though, is the way the characters were written, the way the characters were portrayed. I mean, clearly, both the original Slumber Party Massacre and this movie, they're feminist films. You know, that's what they were perceived as. That's what they were, that's what they were executed as, and everything else. And that's fine when, the thing is, your characters are likable. Okay? And that's the big thing. The characters in this movie, they're likable. They're not like, okay, here's a big problem with like a lot of movies and TV shows nowadays that are feminist. A lot of them, like, women characters are not written to be relatable or even particularly likable. Most of the female characters are written to be very narcissistic. They're written to be like sociopathic robots. Just no feeling, no empathy, no character, just nothing to them. Nothing to make them, nothing to make an audience want to relate to them. And another thing that's really nice is with a lot of these modern day feminist movies, and like one of the things that they keep trying to push is that for women, nothing is an obstacle, nothing is a challenge. No matter what, women can defeat any problem or solve anything that comes up and not even break a sweat doing it. Okay? And personally, that's not a good message, in my opinion, to be sending women. Okay, I'll give you a quick example. Back when I was dating Grace, I showed her like the last 20 minutes of Death Proof. And honestly, when we got done watching it, she was baffled. She was gobsmacked by it because she didn't understand why was it a challenge for the women to fight off Stuntman Mike, Kurt Russell's character from that movie. Why was it a challenge? It shouldn't have been. The women should just, they should have just taken him out and just in like a second. And it was like it took way too long. But see, the thing is like I don't blame Grace for that. The problem is like she's conditioned to believe a lot of this modern day feminism, which is, that for women nothing is a challenge, nothing is ever a problem, and stuff like that. And that's not a message to send to women. It's not a message to send to anybody. It's like going back, like me and the guys had talked about this before. We talked about on a chat one time. We talked about how like it's funny that so many people, when they look back at like 80s action movies, they have this idea that like all your big tough guys like Stallone, Schwarzenegger, Chuck Norris, Bruce Willis, Harrison Ford, Mel Gibson, all these guys, like these they were always so strong and invincible, and nothing was ever a problem. There was never a challenge for these guys. It's like if even though people made jokes about it and stuff, but like if you go watch the Rambo movies, like when people shoot Stallone with bullets, they just bounce off of him, or something like that. Not the case. Okay, or like for years, always, all these Chuck Norris is so strong memes and all this other kind of stuff. And it's like, that's not the case. If you go watch like the Dirty, or well, even the Dirty Harry movies to an extent. But like go watch, like the Rambo movies. Stallone gets his ass handed to him in some of those movies. He gets messed up. Go watch the original Die Hard. Go watch that. Bruce Willis is damn near dead at the end of the movie. He's barely still alive. And he doesn't need... By the end of the movie, he has nothing left, and he ends up... the main, one of the big bad guys, he doesn't even have the strength or anything to take him out. He's got nothing left. And so, the character Al Powell ends up being the one who takes him out and everything else. So it's like people have this idea that like this is how men were perceived in these 80s action movies. And that was never the case. And it's like the problem is like they're trying to apply that with modern day films and saying, like, okay, well, they could do that with men in these movies, so we're going to do it with women in these movies. And it's like it doesn't work. Okay? That's why so many people reject it, because it's not the way it goes. And the thing is what's beautiful about this movie is this movie here, the women, they're strong, they're smart, they're capable, but they're human beings. And some things do turn into a challenge for them. And even though they plan to catch Russ Thorn and take him out, you know, they plan it as best as they can, but even still, you know, not everything goes according to plan. And you still, you know, even though the women are written to be strong female characters, you still have, you know, like some of the cliche stuff in here. You got women running around tripping and falling, and all this other kind of stuff. You know, but it's just like, it's okay though. Like, it makes you like the characters, it makes you sympathize with them. Because, you know, when you have characters that are so perfect and, you know, nothing is a challenge, nothing is a problem, it doesn't get the audience invested in the story. And this invests the audience in the story. That's what I love about this movie, you know. And like another thing too, though, is that they added in here is like there are a couple of scenes where men are, you know, for lack of a better word, men are sexually objectified in this movie. But the thing is like, you know, the filmmaker could come to you and say, hey, look, women have been sexually objectified in movies and TV shows for so long, and not just horror films, just movies in general, you know. And so it's like, why not do that to men? And it's like, you can't argue. That's fair. That makes sense, you know. So it's like, you know, like so many movies, you know, we can all think there are so many movies where you got to have the scene where the woman's in the shower and she's wet and glistening and she's, you know, she just looks delicious, and, you know, you got to have the close-up, every little drop of water on her breasts, and, you know, you got to have the close-up of her butt and all this kind of stuff. This has been done so many times, so why not do the same thing and do it with a man, you know? You have the guys having a slumber party. Now, how many movies have we seen where women are having a slumber party? They start having a pillow fight, the pillows break, and you see, you know, the feathers just, you know, snowing down on all the women and stuff. How many times have we seen that in a movie? So why not do a scene like that where it happens to men? It makes perfect sense, you know. The only thing is, I'm just not really sure how the filmmaker is going to take it, because she might come along and be like, well, see, you know, women have been sexually objectified in movies so often, we did it with men. How do you like that? It's like, well, when you consider the new, you know, feminist movies and TV shows coming out, I think, you know, like, I'd be like, well, here's my choice. Beautiful women sexually objectifying me, or beautiful women absolutely hating my guts and praying for my death. I wonder which one I'm going to go for, you know? But it's like, it makes sense. So it's like, you know, yeah. And, you know, watching this, it's like I wasn't angered by it. I wasn't triggered by it or anything like that. It's just, this movie, it is. It's a blast, and it's like, okay, it makes sense. You know, yes, you know, some men are sexually objectified in this movie, but hey, come on. Let women have a little eye candy too. What's the problem? But anyway, though, the overall thing is like the characters are well done. It's a well-written script. You know, really good effects, some inventive kills, fun, entertaining. You know, it's like, you know, if they're like, you know, if feminists were like, we're going to make more movies like this, I'd be like, oh, hell yeah, bring them on. You know, because then they'd be fun to watch, you know. And so, you know, and that's the thing, this, you know, the characters in this movie, they're not cold-blooded, unfeeling, robotic man-haters. And so, you know, and it's just like, they want to help people and stuff like that. And it's like, they're not perfect, you know. But honestly, I know I've kind of gone on like a political rant. I didn't really mean to do that, but, you know, anyway, if you get a chance, please check this out. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, I was pleasantly surprised by this. First chance I get, I'm upgrading this baby to Blu-ray, and that's pretty much it. I think I've talked more than long enough. So if anybody took the time to watch this video, I do thank you for doing it, and I appreciate you for doing it. I honestly hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave it a like. And if you haven't, go ahead and subscribe to the BodyBags channel. We have a different reviewer, one for every day of the week. I'm the Saturday reviewer. You know, we have all great guys. Everybody's doing wonderful stuff. We have more, you know, theme weeks coming up, and you know, weeks where we reflect on movies from a certain year, and label weeks, and all other kinds of fun stuff. So that's it. So everybody, take care. Have a good night, and I'll see you later.